And welcome back to the show. Well, throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, nurses have been on the front lines serving those in need across the city and the nation. From the very beginning, through administering vaccines to millions of New Yorkers, nurses are not often recognized for their tireless hard work, personal care for people, plus their medical expertise. Our next guest has worked to ensure her patients receive COVID-19 vaccines, as she has seen firsthand how our community has either been underserved or hesitant towards the vaccinations. Here to tell us more is the Care Team Supervisor at AdvantageCare Physicians, Patria Villalona. And Patria, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Daren, for having me, for taking the time. I'm happy to be part of this.
Well, glad to have this conversation with you. And first of all, thank you for the work that you do. It's National Nurses Month, and we want to thank you for the work that you're doing. And I'll start off with a question. How are things going, particularly in the area of vaccinations? We know that, particularly in communities of color, there's a lot of hesitancy that still lingers out there. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yes, at the beginning, there was a lot of people were, backing away, and we tried to reassure them and tell them the facts. If you don't get vaccinated, it's going to take longer. A lot of people want to wait. They want to wait if there's a reaction. So, but you know what? It took a little bit of time, but a lot of people are responding and saying, you know what? I'm tired. I want to get this over with. I want to go, to a concert. I want to travel. It's getting very difficult. So a lot of people are complying. There's still, a lot of education that needs to be done. When the Johnson and Johnson vaccine, with the issues, a lot of people were like, okay, wait a minute. I'm gonna stop there and let's take a pause. But it's okay. People, it's part of life. But they're coming in and getting back their vaccinations.
Yeah, I think you stole my thunder a little bit on that, because I was going to ask you about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. I know that when the pause occurred, that put a pause in the hearts and minds of a lot of people. How much of a awareness and how much extra conversation did you have to have following the Johnson & Johnson pause?
Well, you know what? Here at Advantage Care Physicians, we're not offering the Johnson and Johnson, so that was a plus. We offer the Moderna, so that was my first thing. We don't have the Johnson and Johnson. We're giving the Moderna, which is very safe. But you give them the numbers. In 7 million people that had the Johnson and Johnson, 6 people had a reaction. So it's pretty good and that's why it took 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and now it's fine to get it. So you have to kind of like give them the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, we're on the better side of this pandemic now when we're talking about vaccinations. But for you, you also had to deal firsthand with the infections and the quarantines and that. Walk us through that time frame for you. What was it like for you as a nurse having to deal with that situation where you found people infected and then also those that are actually transitioned?
Yeah, it was hard when this started. We started testing people for the flu, and they were coming back negative for the flu. So, back in March of last year, we had no idea. We came in close contact with people, but we didn't know. Luckily, I never got sick with COVID. I was vaccinated in January, thank God. But it was hard. We started getting a lot of phone calls, people not knowing what to do. If I have this symptom, could it be this? And we had to listen a lot and reassure the patients, it's going to be okay, do this, stay home. If you feel that you can't breathe, go to a hospital. So we did a lot of that, a lot of talking and a lot of being there for the patient. And the stories of patients that would come in and said, I lost my mom, and 4 days later I lost my dad, and a month later I lost my uncle. So we dealt a lot with that. We had patients that, I had a patient that lost her husband next door, sitting next to her at a couch. They were watching TV. So that was very challenging. That was very challenging for us to have to deal with that. But we were there for the patients. And, thank God that now things are much better, much better.
What was that feeling like to know that the vaccinations and the vaccines were going to be coming your way after hearing about it and, the the possibility of it actually coming. Then to actually see them actually arrive. For you as a nurse, what was that like
Oh
on that
my
very first
God.
day?
Oh my God, it was so exciting. You know, we started vaccinating patients in our Harlem office, and I was one of the ones that, you know, volunteered to go. And we were doing 100 people, 100 patients a day. And let me tell you, Daren, we had patients coming in with their suits and taking pictures and, you know, photographing and calling their loved ones. Look, I'm doing it. I'm getting it. So it was such a great feeling to be part of that, to be able to be part of a person's life. You know, I had 98-year-old patients. You know, we were like, where are you going? Oh, you know, this is the occasion. I'm wearing a suit. You know, this is it for me. And it was, you know, while we were injecting, they were, you know, sending us their blessings and thanking us. And you know what? That is priceless. That is priceless.
Yeah, I think about that. I think about the struggles that you had to go through, right? And
Yeah.
then and then the joy of actually being able to see people
Yeah.
vaccinated, and the role that you play as a nurse. And I said it in the intro, that so many times we take it for granted, right? You guys are on the front lines
Yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
and day and night. As
Mhm.
we're shifting now and navigating through this, what's it been like for you now to the place personally where, you know, we've been in this for more than a year now, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you personally, it's been a learning process. And you know, when this began last year, I have 2 kids, and I told my kids, okay, I am not allowed. You're not allowed to hug me when I walk in. I'm gonna, you know, strip down, take a shower, and then we can talk. And you know, we're gonna have a little social distance here. So you know, it was a process, and they were worried for me, and I was worried for them. You know, I was working, and they were doing virtual schooling. They're 2 teenagers, so it's been a process. But you know what? I work with a great team here. We all care about each other. We did it, you know, we were here for the patients, and we were here for each other. We needed to somehow, you know, talk and try to have fun and keep going. So I think that's where I am right now. You know, I'm happy where we are, and I know that we still have a lot of work to do. But it's so good to have a good team and to be there for the patients. You know, at the
Yeah.
end, that's what matters.
What does it mean to you to be a nurse, especially in a time like this?
Ay, ay, ay. Well, you know what? You know what? It's great. It's great. You know, I this is my second career. You know, I chose nursing because my mom was ill for 20 years, and I would see how nurses treated her. So I said, oh my God, that's so. I felt so grateful, and I said, you know, maybe that's something that I can do. And she said, yeah, you know, maybe you can be a nurse. You have it in you, you know. And she passed away. Sadly, she didn't see me graduate. Um, but I'm happy. I'm happy to be there. You know, to be there for the patients, to talk to them, to listen. Some of them just want to talk. You know, they don't. You know, their families sometimes don't have time. So this is a good thing for me. This is a good
Yeah.
thing for me.
And before we close,
Mhm.
what would be the word that you give for somebody who may be watching out there and they still have this vaccine hesitancy? What would you say to them?
Go get it done. Get it done. We have to get this over with. Oops, sorry.
No, that's about as plain as you can put it, right? I mean, really,
Yeah, yeah, we have to keep going. We have to keep going and you know, past this and move forward. And that's the only way. That's the only way, Darren.
thank you so much for being with us. Certainly,
Thank
congratulations on
you.
National Nurses Month. But
Thank
most of
you.
all, thank you for the work that you've done, from the infections to the testing to now the vaccinations.
Mhm.
Thanks much. And we hope to have you back.
All right, Darren. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Well, we want to let you know now, if you want more information about them, I want you to visit the website, acpny.com. Again, ACPNY, and then also follow them on Twitter at ACPNY. We encourage you, stay with us. Don't go anywhere. We got more show coming up right after this.